Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. Assalamu alaikum and welcome you all towards the new topic, new lecture about how we basically use steps or the methods to remove permanent hardness from. So these are the topics that methods of removing hardness from water, and as you have already studied in the previous topic that we basically go through the two methods like boiling and Clark's method for removing temporary hardness, but specifically we using washing soda and sodium zeolite to remove. Now permanent hardness is removed through using either washing soda or sodium zeolite. Permanent hardness can only be removed by using chemicals in which calcium and magnesium ions are removed as insoluble salts as calcium carbonate, and either by using washing soda, which is sodium carbonate, or using sodium zeolite. So the first method we applied is ion exchange method, in which we are going to use sodium zeolite. The question arises that what is actually sodium zeolite? Sodium zeolite is a naturally occurring resin of sodium aluminium silicate, and the formula is NaAlSiO3 twice, which can also be prepared artificially. It is used for softening of water at the domestic as well as industrial scale or in the industrial level. Now here's the reactions that how we basically use it. Sodium zeolite is in solid state when treated with calcium sulfate, which is present and responsible for causing hardness in water. Sodium zeolite actually targeted that calcium ions and replaced that calcium ions from hard water and form calcium zeolite, which is insoluble, and sodium sulfate goes into the water, which actually forming a soft water. This calcium ions is basically a culprit which causes hardness in water, and we replace that calcium ions from calcium ions with sodium ions, and that sodium ions is not responsible for causing any sort of hardness in water. So when water is passed through the resin, sodium ions are exchanged with the unwanted calcium and magnesium ions of hard water. As we have seen already in the figure that this calcium ion is coming from the hard water, and sodium zeolite is the resin which is present in the column. The ions get exchanged, sodium ion goes into the water and calcium ions get stick with the zeolite ions. So a time will come when you see that whole of the water, whole of the zeolite is basically filled with calcium zeolite. It gets concentrated, it gets saturated with calcium ions, and we want to reverse it back so that we can use it for the further softening. And for that process we flush it with a high concentration of concentrated solution of sodium chloride, and this is basically a reverse reaction, because when calcium zeolite, which is present in the column, is flushed with the concentrated solution of sodium chloride, again the ions get exchanged, sodium zeolite get generated, and calcium chloride goes into the water. Actually that water in which calcium chloride is given and we are using for the regeneration of sodium zeolite, it is not there to drink it. It is just used to re-clear or refresh that whole column, so that we can generate this sodium zeolite for further reactions. I hope this. Now another method to remove the hardness is basically by using washing soda. The formula of washing soda is sodium Na2CO3, and the addition of washing soda remove calcium and magnesium ions and get exchanged with the sodium ions of washing soda and form insoluble calcium and magnesium ions. As you have clearly seen this in different equations, that Na2CO3 washing soda is added, and then calcium sulfate, magnesium sulfate, calcium chloride and magnesium chloride, which is present in water and causing the hardnesses, they always forming calcium carbonate, or either in another example they will forming magnesium carbonate. They are in solid form, they precipitate out, and we can easily separate it through the process of filtration. But the another salts which are basically formed is sodium sulfate, sodium chloride, and they are in aqueous form, and that sort presence of sodium ions along with chlorides and sulfates do not causing any hardness in water. I hope this basically this whole description help you a lot in order to understand the temporary hardness, the permanent hardness, and how we are applying the different methods to remove that hardness. Take care and Allah Hafiz.